Here I have a highlighted two methods that have this very same name, create and create, right? So the main difference between these two is this create is going to be a HTTP get, and this create is going to be a HTTP post. What do I mean by that? When I say a create with a HTTP get, it means give me a page that would help me create an object. So it is just going to be a screen that shows me some fields that I can input. When I have a method called create with the HTTP post, that means everything that is on the screen that was created by this create is going to be sent back to my database and updated by the post. So this is the request, this is the response. So that is what you have to like remember. So there is a get and there is a post. The post is like mentioned here. The get doesn't have to be mentioned. You don't have to say HTTP get anywhere because that is the default behavior of any action method. So let's ignore this one for a moment, the validate anti-forgery. But what happens here? Let's look at here. So when I say create, the get method of the create, let's go here. So create. This is not a post, right? This is a get because we are asking for the create method. But the user is not sending anything back yet. The user is just asking to create an object, right? Create an album here. So which means I want these two pre-populated so they are not adding some genre that does not exist. And then these three are free forms, right? So let's see here. When we did this method, the HTTP get, in the view bag, we are sending a list of artists. So this is a query again, right? So this is a query, database.artists. So all the artists are being pulled and put into a select list and sent in the view bag. All the genres from the database are pulled, put into this select list, and then thrown into the view bag, and then we call the view. So the view will be the create view, right? So let's go to the create view. If you see here, let's ignore the validation summaries for the time being. It is just trying to see if there has been any error or not. But if you just ignore that for a second and focus on these guys here, see the drop down and this drop down. This is what we are seeing, the artist drop down and the genre drop down are what we are seeing. And then editor for is basically exposing the field so it can be edited. So the title is available for us to edit, the price is available for us to edit, and then the URL is available for us to edit. So those are text boxes. So the editor for gives you a text box. And then there is a provision for us to submit this form. That is when the post will happen. When you say okay, and when you say create, that is when we are going to have a post back, right? So in order for you to have a post back, it has to be inside the form element, right? So all of this has to be under a form element, and the form should be, we should be able to submit that form. That's the whole idea. Okay, input type is submit and the value is create, and that is what creates a form submit option. So the form with the submit option. So when you just view the form, this viewing that, asking for this to be displayed is the HTTP get. When you click on this button, after you have inputted some values here, let me call it like, I don't think there was a Taylor Swift. Oh, red. Artist, I don't know if this artist is there. It's called this Queen. I say create here, that is when the request is being posted. So let's just wait a second. Let me put a breakpoint here so you can see the difference. Here. Create. See, we are in the HTTP post create, not the get create, right? So anytime we post, there is a binding here automatically, right? This was also generated for us. What this means is, this is where the model binding happens, okay? The model binding is, it's saying there is album ID, genre, artist ID, title, price, album art URL. All of these are going to be bound to the album, okay? So which means it is going to update the database. So after this is executed, if I just come in here and step through, this model state valid is going to tell me whether this update was successful or not. It says true, so the update was successful. So we go through. You see here, we say redirect to action. So this return, instead of saying return view, we are saying redirect to action index, because unless you have a special page to show the results of a create, saying successfully created or something like that, it's much more appropriate to direct it back to the index so they can actually see the update that they've made, right? So let's do that. So it is going to go to my index controller. So let's do that. Let's put a breakpoint there to my controller. Oh, I'm right there. Okay. Index. So when I redirected that, it's going to come here. Again, pull everything from the database and show. Right? So you can see that it stops here. So I should be able to see the name was red or something. There. That's the last one I added, right? Queen, pop, red. So I got routed back to the index method. So let's try a sad path now. So let's take the same, no, I don't want that one. I want to create again, right? So let's take create new. See, it comes to the get because it wants to know what to show on the screen. So let's say I give the price as this is data validation that's happening. It's capturing the data validation. So if I say create, it does not let me go farther because of the data validation that is tied to this field. So again, I got directed back to index because I said back to list. Okay, so no changes were made, nothing was added. I think that's all it is that we are going to cover in this particular video. Thank you.